Liz is a graphic designer, a wonderful graphic designer, who's been in the industry for about 12 years. She worked in London. She's currently self-employed and juggling her work with 2 kids, being an amazing mother and also helping out small businesses. So she's got a great passion for small businesses, which is why you will see her very active on Instagram. And I know. Thank you, guys. Woo, woo. And so the reason you probably have heard her or seen her really actively on Instagram is actually because of her passion to help other businesses. And personally, by just following her, I found out lots of little tips. I could refer loads of little ideas to other designers who are starting. So I absolutely love how engaging she is, and it's very productive and very what do you call it, very helpful and sharing. There's a better word for it, Mared. You should have helped me with that. That's how generous she is. Yes. How generous Liz is.
Too early in the morning.
And now we would like Liz to join us. Liz is joining. Yay, we made it, Liz.
I know, amazing. Good morning.
Good morning. How long have you been up this morning?
Oh, since like 6.
Okay.
I'm not a morning person either, but it's forced upon me.
Same. Oh no, I'm not. I'm a naturally morning person. Love you too, Liz. So I have introduced you. You don't have to tell people. I think everybody knows who you are, Liz.
No,
we have talked about
thank you for your introduction. I was like blushing over here.
I absolutely love your Instagram. I love how on brand you are. And so I know this isn't one of the questions, but I did tell you I'm going to improvise a little bit. Is that so? How I feel like your Instagram account is very purposeful, very on theme. So how do you keep up with that? Do you have like I'm going nerdy designer straight away. Do you keep up with it by having a limited color palette or a certain style, or does it just come naturally to you, like they are your natural brand colors? So natural colors that you like, not necessarily your brand colors. Like, how do you organize all of that?
Yeah, well, I have started trying to limit the palette. Like, if you look back way back on my Instagram, it has changed over time, but I think the longer I used it, the more I realized that it was really beneficial for my business, so I made it more like businessy. So I started like putting in a color palette and just trying to make it all look a bit more consistent. But I'm not very good at like niching, and so I do still like sharing a bit of everything. So I just like I'll still put up like the odd picture of the kids and stuff like that. So I still keep it a bit of, I like to keep it like my creativity in general rather than like just business stuff. But I do try and make it look more consistent, and I do that by using a planner app. So I like see how all the pictures look together before I post them.
I say, what do you use later?
Mosaico.
Oh, okay. So
yeah, they're all like the same really. But,
yeah, I use Later app. When I say I use it very rarely, but I use Later app. And you said Mosaico, so there's a write it down, kids, write it down.
But yeah, and so then I just like if I have like ideas for posts and things I want to talk about, I just like jot them down in there or in notes or whatever. And then yeah, just try and share a good mix of just like real life, business chat, ideas that'll help people, stuff like that.
Do you have a backlog of stuff that you
I always aspire to have like a month's worth of content lined up, but it never quite works out because sometimes I'll have stuff planned and then I'm just not feeling it, and so I just like don't post it. But I do try and have like a few posts like lined up so that I can be consistent with it. But I have found recently with everything going on, it's all gone a bit out of the window, and so at the moment I'm just posting what I feel like at the time rather than anything super planned ahead.
Yeah, that's good. I think it's better to be that way, I guess, because you're a designer, you've got a full-time job. You can't really get Instagram take over your life and be your whole sole purpose of
totally.
creating. Yeah. So
I feel
did
like I've
you,
gone really.
in your creative journey, uh,
Yeah.
did you always have a purpose, or do you think you come to it after working out certain things? How has it been for you? Like, did you do other work before you led on to the design, graphic design? Did you go to university, or did you find your way? Did you just find yourself in design? How did it work out for you?
I think I'm like really rare in that well, so right from being a kid, I always knew that I wanted to do a creative job. Like since I was like, I just loved art. I was always drawing. And so when it came to the end of school, it was like a no-brainer to me that I was going to go to art college. But when I went to art college, I thought I was going to do photography. So I went in like totally expecting to do photography, but then I did a foundation course, which is basically like the best year ever. If anyone has the choice to do a foundation course, I would say do it. Because you basically just get to experiment for a year and just try everything. And like, it's very rare to have an opportunity to just experiment for a year without having to like
True, yeah.
produce stuff for
So
like
brief.
products or for a brief. I mean, they gave you like briefs as projects, but it was just like totally to experiment.
Mm.
So when I was on that course, I discovered well, not discovered, but like experimented with graphic design and realized that actually that's what I really loved. Because I wouldn't call myself a photographer or an illustrator, but it kind of like incorporated all of those things. So I loved like loads of different aspects of, like being creative, and I wanted a job that I could sort of dabble in all of them. So then that's when I decided that I wanted to do design, and I have basically stayed on that path ever since, which I think is really rare. Because a lot of people that I know, especially, have like much more winding sort of like career.
Sorry, but Lewis is saying also you meet great people doing art foundation. Did you
Yeah.
meet Lewis there?
I met Lois do my art foundation course, and we've been like besties ever since. So
Yeah,
obviously that was another reason why the year was like amazing.
of course.
But yeah, so then basically I then went on to university to study graphic design, and I have been working as a designer ever since in different like ways, different like places, but yeah, the same job effectively.
Mm. So you're not thinking about, you're not ever looking back and thinking, oh, I wish I've done that or done this.
Not job wise, no. I
No.
still like love it. I mean, like it's interesting because there's quite like a lot of people that I went to university with aren't doing like
Yeah.
aren't designers anymore and have decided to go different paths. I think there's like a handful of us that are still doing graphic design, but I've just been really fortunate. I think that I've had jobs that I've really enjoyed, that's like kept me going in it. And then now, like working for myself, I never, when I chose a career, I
Yeah.
never even considered what sort of career it would be for having kids, but it's actually worked out really well with having kids because
Mm.
I can, like going self-employed, I can take on as much or as little work as I feel like I can handle at the time. And so I've managed to keep going, like even like a bit on my maternity leaves, like I kept, doing a little bit of work, which has been really important for me because I think if I didn't have a creative outlet, I would like go a bit bonkers. I don't
Yeah.
think I could be fully in the kid bubble. I need to have like a
No.
little like creative sideline. Otherwise I would have lost it, I
Yeah,
think.
agree. Someone just asked which uni you went to. So, guys, I just want to say I can't see y'all there. There was a deep conversation about teas and coffees. Alex joined. Someone's putting on a kettle. I think Neil's putting on a kettle. Myra's giving cakes. So it's really, really funny. I love it. But obviously, I can't interrupt Liz all the time. But someone did ask which university you went to.
So I did my foundation at Glamorgan College of Art and Design. I don't think it's called that anymore. I'll
Oh,
look up what it's called now, but it was in Pontypridd. I think the campus has changed as well. And then I went to the University of Falmouth to do my degree. So
right.
yeah, then like right down in Cornwall. It was absolutely stunning, really beautiful place to go to university, but like totally cut off. And so basically I got to the end of my degree course and I was like, I need to live in a big city. So I went to New York for 3 months, and then I went to,
Wow.
yeah, so I did an internship in New York for 3 months, and then I moved to London. And I was just like, I'm a city person. That made me realize I'm a city person. So then I lived in London, I think, for like 8 years, and then 3 years ago moved back to Cardiff.
Okay, so it's how was it's moved to Colleague Kim more, I don't know how to now with the same lecturers.
They were very
Lauren
good.
said. So how was New York, and what did you do there? And was that like straight after uni?
Yeah, it's pretty much straight after uni. I flew to Canada to Lois's wedding, and then I went to New York for 3 months. Totally bonkers. And basically I was doing an internship with this really eccentric designer, but he was like amazing, and I got to work on really cool projects. So I worked on like a new signage system for the subway, so he was designing all the symbols for that, and I worked on like promotional stuff for the ballet, for the New York Ballet, like for an exhibition. So I got to work on really cool projects, but the guy was pretty out there. So it was an interesting experience.
That's really good. It's fun. And how is London compared to Cardiff, do you think? Just a little on that.
When I left Cardiff, like there just wasn't that great a creative scene, and there wasn't much going on. I mean, this is like 15 years ago or whatever. And obviously in London, there's just like so much going on. It was like the perfect right time to live in London, you know, when you're like in your early 20s and you're just doing so fun stuff.
I was
and
there at that time as well.
Yeah, and I absolutely loved it, and I met loads of amazing people, had loads of opportunities and stuff. But then I was a bit nervous about coming back to Cardiff, because obviously all I remembered was that there wasn't much going on. But I have just been so chuffed, because the community here now is huge and amazing, and there's loads of stuff going on. And so I don't really feel like I'm missing out. I actually like it more.
No, you're not.
I feel
we are chuffed that you are here. Thanks for coming
but
back.
I love it because I love it because I feel like you can be more part of it here, whereas I feel like in London it's so big, you just get lost in everything that's going on, whereas here you can actually like get involved and be a part of what's going on, which is really nice.
Yeah. Somebody asked what job you did in London. I'm guessing it's design. Did you work at agencies or did you freelance?
So I did. I worked at an agent, like a small agency, for a year, and then I actually worked in-house at a university, which was interesting. I actually like loved it because I had an amazing team, and I got to work on my own projects. Like they gave you a lot of autonomy, so I got to work on my own projects from beginning to end.
Cool.
And it was very fast paced, and it was a lot of variety of work, but obviously it is still working within one brand. So after like a while, you do start to get a bit, I guess, like bored a bit of like everything being the same. But while I was there, I did start working self-employed as well. So I would work in the evenings on my own projects. And then near the end, I went down to 4 days a week, and then was doing 1 day a week with my own clients, which was a really nice balance, because I loved my team so much, and I learned loads actually being there, which has really helped me being self-employed.
To set for yourself, yeah.
Exactly, yeah. I mean, the pace of work was like really, like the volume of work was really high, and so I had to learn to work really, you know, like juggle lots of projects at the same time, which has been like an invaluable lesson for now. And so then but basically after my first maternity leave, I didn't go back, and sort of went down self-employed route. And it's worked really well with juggling it around kids, and all the lessons I learned there of having to work, you know, like quickly has really helped, because obviously now my time for working is limited around the kids, so I have to be really really on it on the time that I do have to work.
Yeah. So should we get down to what everybody wants to know, what everyone is talking about, Liz?
Yeah, tell me. What?
The lockdown. So how are you? So how are you finding the current lockdown situation? Do you feel a little bit out of, like, what's the word, directionless, or are you still actively working? And what would you say the purpose of your creativity is now that we are in a lockdown?
Okay, good question. I like it. So I've been really fortunate in that I think I've lost one job that I quoted for, but I haven't lost any work. So I've basically been really consistently working since the lockdown. I guess like the tricky thing is obviously the kids are at home all day, so it's a bit more of a juggle
Hey,
working
Sydney.
around
Sorry.
them.
I'm sorry, I got you.
But no, that's okay. But also my husband's at home, so he's been helping out with the kids so that I still get time to work. So I'm still working. I think my purpose right now is just to really support my clients and support other businesses. Like a lot of them are having to rethink their businesses. They're having to sort of like pivot things slightly, change how they do things. So I've been working with different people, like helping them work on their
Just going to show some
designs.
of your work, well, some
Okay.
of your beautiful stuff while you're talking. Carry on.
So yeah, so I think my main thing at the moment is my main purpose is supporting my clients through like what for a lot of them is a difficult time for their businesses. But yeah,
Now
I've
you've
been
got. This is great.
so yeah, I've been fortunate that my work hasn't been affected so far. I mean, I'm expecting that it might get quieter as the months go on and as this goes on for a while. But I've got lots of ideas of ways to diversify my income. I've got lots of ideas of products that I want to produce, sort of digital products. So yeah, so I feel like actually really grateful that I still have work to do because it is giving me a lot of structure and purpose at the moment.
So, how do you come up with your digital products? So, do you kind of get a feeling from all your interactions on Instagram? So, would that be shaped by the lockdown, do you think?
Yeah, I think so.
Probably.
I mean, so the only digital product I've got at the moment is a PDF of Instagram prompts, and that sort of came about from what what I felt I needed to help me with my Instagram, but also from chatting to loads of other people about what they were struggling with, like promoting their business on Instagram and stuff. So I basically created 50 prompts to help other businesses like share their story really consistently,
Yeah.
because I think it's not easy to know what people want to know about your business. Things that are just normal to you and that you think about every day, you think might be boring to other people, but actually are really interesting. People love understanding how other people are running their businesses and the
Mm.
story behind it. So that was the idea behind the prompts. But I've got lots of ideas for other sort of like helpful PDFs and products for small businesses to help them. But it usually is born out of something that I need help with. And so I create it for myself and then share it.
Yeah. So, can we talk about? I love this. Can we talk about your daily gratitude stuff? So, because I know it's not a digital
Yeah.
product, but I think it gives people a good idea of kind of what we've talked about, isn't it? And how you feel about current situation. So Liz has these what do you call them, freebies, where
They're like
people, yeah,
story templates, I think
yeah,
you'd call it.
yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, do you want to tell us a bit about that?
Yeah, sure. I think I used to keep a gratitude like diary, and I remember like doing it. I realized that you have to be really specific for it to work. Like if you just do general gratitudes, like oh, I'm thankful for my family, I'm thankful for my health. Although it's good to be thankful for those things, it really helps if you're like really specific about, like the
Yeah,
nitty gritty of what you're thankful for. And so when this lockdown all started, I did find that I was prone to let anxiety sort of spiral a bit out of control. You start thinking
mm.
about it and then I get a bit stressed. And so I was like, I need to start doing like daily gratitudes again. And so I just made the template, and because I was really encouraged by seeing other people sharing what things they were grateful for, and it actually made me think, oh yeah, that's something I'm grateful for. If I focus on these things that I'm grateful for, it stops me spiraling out of control in my head. With like my thought patterns. So then I just created the templates and just started sharing them every day. And then loads of people, I put the blank ones up so that other people could share, and loads of people tagged me in their gratitudes, and it was just so encouraging. And I just found it really helpful, like mentally, to just help me sort of stay focused, stay on track, and to just remember that there are things to be grateful for, even in a really horrible situation.
Yeah, I find that that's a really like great use of your creativity and your audience. So I personally found that really inspiring, and it's one of those things. It was like, oh, like somebody else thought about it. It's such a simple, lovely idea to do, and yeah, it's yeah, I love it. Thanks for that, and I love seeing your daily gratitude stuff as well every day.
Thanks. There's lots of, I think there's lots of ways that creatives can really help in this sort of situation. Like, I think, like, I've been really inspired. Like, loads of people have brought out, I don't know if you follow Catherine Lewis. She's in Cardiff. She's brought out colouring sheets, like that's supposed to really help, like mental health. And people have been really generous with sort of the content that they've produced and stuff.
Definitely. Do you have, so we've got a last few minutes, Liz. So is there, thanks for talking about lockdown. It's really helpful, I think, even though it's like everyone's talking about it, but we're obviously special, so that's fine. What advice would you give to your younger self, or to our followers now?
Okay, so the advice I'd give to my younger self is don't wait for perfection to get started, because I think there's loads of things I would have done ages ago if I hadn't been so worried that it wasn't perfect. And I think that's even more prevalent right now. I think now, like, if you're having to pivot your business, or you're having to like change things around to keep your business afloat, like, you've just got to do it. You haven't got time to wait around for it to be perfect. You've just got to get started, and you can tweak things as you go along. And like, it's still something that I have to keep reminding myself over and over again, because it's just so easy to get into the mindset, well, oh, I can't release that yet because it's not totally how I want it to be. Whereas actually people will appreciate it and get value from it, even though it's maybe not exactly how you wanted it to look or you wanted it to be. So yeah, that would be like definitely my bit of advice. And I think it's really relevant right now.
Yeah, exactly. And I agree with you. And I think a lot of creatives are there. We always think we're going to be perfect, or we never think it's good enough. So it's really difficult. Like, that's why it's silly to kind of rely on yourself to find the perfect balance. It will never be perfect for us. So we do need to just go for it. And yeah, people love that advice. So I really appreciate it. Thank you. Anything specifically, Liz, before you go, that you want us or your followers to keep an eye out for, or is there anything you want to do a shout out?
Well, today I'm hoping to record, I did an IGTV video months ago, and I'm recording a new one today. So keep an eye out for that. Hopefully I'll be able to share it in the next few days. It's going to be all about making repeat patterns on Procreate. So teaching you how to make repeat patterns, because I've got really into that recently. So I'm going to be doing that. And then other than that, I've got lots of ideas for things that I want to do, but I haven't had time to do them yet. But I'm hoping to launch some new stuff in the summer. So like new stuff to help small businesses, and make design sort of like more accessible to businesses that are just starting out and maybe don't have big budgets and stuff like that.
Okay. Quick one. Would you be sharing some of those with the CreativeMornings community via, I mean, is that one of your...
That is one of my plans. Yeah.
Oh, I'm very excited about that. Hey guys,
we're gonna do a field trip.
Yeah, we're gonna do a field trip with Liz, so she can show us either making gifts. So I didn't want to show a lot of your gifts because you weren't talking about that at the time, but I did show you show your gifts. And also Liz, this is my shout out for Liz's work on Instagram, is that has some really cute and a variety of gifts online. So if you, all you need to do is search for her name without space and you'll see all the gifts, and you can use it and have cool stories, y'all. So and keep an eye out on all the other cute stuff she's going to do. I'm aware some of you have questions, so somebody asked, have you got any advice for how to get into design world? What I'm going to do though is either while we are doing this or just as we finish this conversations, we will have a post that will prompt you to ask your questions to Liz and Matt. So after we finish our session of Creative Mornings today, you can comment by tagging the person you want the answer from, or both of them, and they can choose to reply to you either as a comment or a private or in private, because obviously we want to interact with you and we want you to be able to ask questions, but we also want to stick to time, because this is people's work time, and it's, you know, I want to make sure everyone can hear a bit of everyone.
Yeah, definitely.
And
yeah,
I think
questions. I'll go back and answer them.
Yeah. So Liz, I think it's a really good question to answer, but I feel like as a designer, that's a very kind of long question to answer. How do you get into design? So lovely morning person who asked that, please don't get offended. We will get back to you on that, or you can just you've got my permission to just chase Liz.
Yeah. Just message me. Just message me. Yeah.
Okay. So we're gonna say bye to you. Thank you so much for your time and patiently answering all our questions. Great stuff, and keep inspiring us. Thank you. Love seeing you.
Oh, love seeing you. Thank you.
Take care. Bye.
Bye.
Now we are going to move to Matt. Matt Joyce is an independent illustrator based in Cardiff. Matt is also one of the people that I've met when I first, like even before I started Creative Mornings, I think randomly. And since then, we've been bumping into each other and we became friends. We've even sort of organized the Cardiff Design Festival together, because he's been a previous organizer for the festival. So I think you all know Matt from his murals, maybe especially the famous one in Rubble, and then his zines and illustrations. We have given away some of his zines before. He just has this lovely bold style, colorful, and he's done a lot of great work for clients like Barclays, National Museum Wales, Shoe. So yeah, so now I'm not going to, Matt is going to request to join me, because I know he's there, and we're gonna have some questions and have a lovely little chat with Matt before we go back to our working lives.
I figured it out. I was confused.
Yeah, sorry, love. I could do that at the beginning because there's so many people now. I couldn't add you. I was worried that I'm gonna cancel the whole thing by mistake. So how are you on this fine morning, Matt?
Good. Liz's talk was great.
It's
still really early though.
How are you feeling?
All right, I think I need more coffee.
Do you? Yeah.
Pastries, that's what we need.
Pastries. I know somebody said we wish we had early bird pastries, and I totally agree.
That'd be nice.
I know. But you guys, this is all a great time for us to stay in, have our own coffees and our own pastries, and then we can appreciate the other food that's in the outside world so much more when we get out. Also, I think we've all would have added some weight, so I don't know what the solution to that, but just you're all gonna have to accept that we're all gonna be a bit more curvier when we get out. It's just the way life is right now. So Matt, again, everyone knows you. I'm here for Matt's. Do you know what? I mean, I'm here for Matt's hair, but I feel like Matt's hair has calmed down a little bit. Matt, have you done your hair? Because look, I've listened to you and did my thing up, my hair up.
I know, but it's the beginning. It gets bigger as the day goes on.
I know, guys, it's actually a lot bigger. He has kind of tamed it for this morning.
These bits, look.
It's
Look at
so
this.
good.
I hate the cat so badly.
We all do, man. Right, so Matt, let's go.
Oh, yeah, it's good.
How do you feel these days? And compared to, I'm making up this question as I go,
No.
compared to how you started off, what do you think your purpose is now? What was it before as a creative? Because I know you weren't always an illustrator myself. So you
Yeah.
started as, and then how did that change over time?
Um, I studied to be a designer, so I actually went to uni and did a graphic design degree. Um, but I did always like I had my own website that was illustration based.
Yeah, yeah, you did.
Like that was kind of like a side thing. But yeah, so I went to uni, uh, got a design degree. First job out of uni, I was a web designer, um,
Yeah.
which was not the greatest, but it was fine. I was chatting with them about it, and we remembered that because we both had the same, we worked at the same place at the same time.
Oh, is that how you met?
No, we met in uni and applied for one job and both got the same job.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
We're talking about Matt's
my
wife,
wife.
em,
Yeah.
Emily, right?
Emma.
Emma. See, I always mix Emily and Emma. Sorry, Emma. Please love me back.
But yeah, so I worked as a web designer for about 2 years. But like, and then went on and got a graphic design job at an agency and
Mhm.
stayed there for almost 10 years. But always on the side was kind of doing illustration, but sort of more as a hobby, little bits of freelance, taking part in competitions, exhibitions. So like kind of doing like little bits. So no formal training in what I'm doing
Right.
now, but a long time learning how to do it and trying stuff out, which was good. And I think sort of having the design like education serves a really good like purpose in what I'm doing now, and even the jobs. Like I don't think I could be a freelance illustrator without the design jobs, learning how to deal with
Mm.
clients, all that kind of stuff. Even just yeah, our last job would be like organizing photo shoots and even working with other illustrators and this kind of stuff. Like pretty invaluable skills to what I'm doing now.
Hmm.
Um, and then went freelance in 2017. Oh no, there's two of you, Melon. This is too much.
This was our plan, Matt.
Ooh, yeah, I know. I need to put my like face filters on.
It's okay. I'll keep going. Keep
Yeah.
going.
But yeah, so freelance for the last 3 years now. Yeah,
Hmm.
2017. So yeah, so that's been fun. It's been good. Um, yeah.
So I'm literally reading my question and just wondering how to. So, what do you think is what was it? I know the reason, but apart from the actual one reason that you left your
Big
uh,
part, basically.
yeah, like I know why you stopped doing web design,
Yeah.
but in other words, you've always had the site. Like, what was it that made you make that big jump?
Well, the agency I was at closed, so that was
Yeah, I
kind
know.
of a big
Yeah,
factor in being pushed
yeah.
into this. I think it was always a passion that was growing, and I think even looking back at like the uni work I would do, there was a lot of illustration in the uni work, even though it was design. Um, and then I think kind of thinking, well, I've got to give it a go, give it a try at some point.
Hmm.
And then I think from when I was at the agency as well, I was doing a lot of illustration work there, and kind of felt like I was becoming less of a designer, more of an illustrator. So
Yeah.
to go back to a design job felt a bit strange. So I thought, well, let's try it. But it
Yeah.
was quite,
So I'm
yeah,
going to show some of your work so
go
that
for
people
it.
don't have to look at me with weird filters all the time. And you can perhaps tell us a bit about how you come up with the ideas, because I
Oh, where
don't
did I get
I
it?
I feel like most of your work are self-inspired and kind of self-motivated. Some of them are briefs, I'm sure. But if you can kind of, while I show your work, if you can talk through like how you come up with those.
Oh, you can show now. Well,
Well, I'm just going to go from.
I was going to say that little thing was for Art Hole. They're a little collective in Cardiff who put on the
Yeah.
markets and con
Oh, yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
They're really cool. So they're making a
Yeah.
zine, and for some reason they're in love with geese. So it was all geese themed. So that's a very sort of like indulgent piece, and just draw whatever I wanted to, and
Yeah. Love
could
that.
draw some geese basically. All these little ones that were for they're for a client in Spain who's got an alcoholic drink which you can set on fire. So
Wow.
these are probably the most playful client work, and yeah, he comes up with crazy briefs for these, and I get to just go kind of wild with them, which is great.
Amazing.
So yeah, there's stuff on my Instagram that I just kind of like that. I recently got an iPad, so I was seeing if I can draw on
Yeah.
the iPads, and then I make a bunch of GIFs just for fun. So I try and keep in between client work doing personal work, which tends to end up on my Instagram, tends to be the GIFs.
Oh, I didn't realize this
That
was
one's got sound. That was a collaboration with a sound designer, Andy. He saw them and was like, "Can I add sound to them?" I'm like, "Of course, go for it."
Oh, cute.
Yeah, which was fun. So yeah, a lot of GIFs recently to try and kind of
Cute.
brush up on my animation abilities and see if I can make some stuff that's sort of fun. I tend to do that if I want to learn something. I need a project to do it with, even if it's just making animations for Giphy.
So how do you come up with these words? That's what puzzles me the most.
That one's a quote. That's an Arcade Fire quote.
Okay.
Sometimes music. I don't know. Always thinking that's Dan Deacon. So music quotes are quite fun to sort of try and riff off. I tend to think of silly puns and stuff, which is really annoying for most people. But like the word
no, they're not.
But like stuff that basically makes something that I think is daft or funny, and then see if that gets any kind of traction with anyone else. Usually, I think make it for yourself first, and then see what happens.
What's going on with my connection? Okay, there we go.
So again, that's the orange liqueur guy. So he comes up with briefs like, "I just want a radio."
Cha.
Yeah, or like a volcano and some bananas, because you can set it on fire, and I think like they're often referencing like cocktail recipes that you can make with this thing. So they're like bonkers.
This was for
Pancake Day.
Was this for Pancake Day?
Yeah. So again, trying to just learn animation basically, and then might as well put it somewhere. So decide to put it on Instagram, and that one got shared by NASA, which was weird. They used that one on stories.
So did you get okay, Instagram is telling me there's 1 minute remaining, so guys, we might have to come back with Matt. Is that okay, Matt? So we'll join back up, and we'll have to. So I didn't know there was a time limit. It's gonna probably cut us off. But in the meantime, I just wanted to ask. So how? I forgot my question before NASA. NASA got me excited. Yes, that's what I was going to say. Thank you, Liz. That's exactly what I was going to ask. So, do you find work through Instagram?
I don't. I know a lot of people do, but like I think some people might. I use Instagram as my portfolio as well now. It used to be that I actually used it like you're supposed to use it and put photos, but now it's like a second portfolio. I get occasional inquiries through it, but not a huge amount. A lot of it is word of mouth. I mean, like you said, Cardiff's community is quite good, quite tight knit, and I get a lot of sort of referrals. A lot of people know what I do, so they recommend me, which is like the best thing ever. But yeah, haven't got much through Instagram yet. It tends to be someone asking, "Can I make them a logo for 20 quid?" which is
Oh
now.
no. Get out. Tell them to leave your inbox.
Yeah.
Just say, delete yourself. I love this. So we're going to look at your quarantine stuff in a minute, lockdown stuff in a minute.
Cool.
I am back with my goddess.
Nice.
So
Cheers.
13 seconds. Guys, will you make sure you join back and not leave us alone, please? Yeah, we're good. So we are going back to beautiful filters, to beautiful gifts. And you've got a lockdown question. So how has your work been, I don't want to say affected, but because everyone's work is affected somehow, but
Yeah.
how have you changed the purpose of your work, or what sort of adjustments have you done in the way you create? So what's your new purpose?
I was saying this to some of the people. I was on a little call yesterday, and current setup is quite normal to my current, like, quarantine life is kind of normal to some degree, like work-wise. So I'm used to working from home. I did lose some work though. I think as many people sort of did. But then other stuff has still come in, and I've still got some work on. So it's kind of like a mixed bag. There was definitely a week as well where there was no work got done just because it was just on my phone.
What, for a week?
Yeah, it's like it was just too much. It just couldn't focus.
Yeah.
The world was on fire and it was all crazy, which I think is fine. So yeah, some stuff's still on, some stuff's still going. As a freelancer, I think if you have downtime, you tend to try and use that to do other stuff. So trying to just keep it as if it's just normal downtime. So do some personal work. You know, it's a good time to sort of like update your website that you haven't done for God knows how long.
Yeah, yeah.
So like these ones you're posting now, this was all sort of just a little bit of personal work to keep me busy. I think I've been quite impressed as well. Like I say, some of the clients have been really good. Like some managed to say getting invoices early before lockdown.
Oh,
this
that's
kind of
nice.
stuff. Yeah. And I think because, like I said, some of them are Cardiff based, there's a definite kind of community spirit where everyone's trying to sort of help each other out. Like if they need work, they're trying to get people to do the work. I mean, yeah, like working from home is normal for me, so there's less of an adjustment there. But
oh, I lost you.
All the clients kind of trying to adjust is sort of what's taking a bit more time, I think. But yeah, I'm trying to keep a sort of normal routine and keep working on my own stuff if there's no client work.
Yeah.
I'm finding that like feedback is just taking a lot longer to come back because everyone's like in the same kind of weird situation.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, you do
busy.
Sorry?
Keeping busy is kind of my tactic at the moment.
Yeah, definitely. So you repurpose to like kind of you make use of this time. And by the way, those prints, Roman Caravan's saying that they are available to sell, aren't they?
Yeah. So like that's
okay,
awesome. So
like
decided to try and sort of like make some stuff for myself and do that rather than do nothing. But also doing nothing is valid, I think, as well.
Yeah. So I really love that you said that I've done nothing for a week because I think everyone kind of, well, I couldn't, with my work with illustrators, I couldn't kind of go into that, but everything else, I was a bit like this for a...
That was it. That was a week. Just that. Just, yeah.
Yeah.
Everyone was too chaotic to focus, I found. Yeah,
exactly.
I think there's kind of like the current kind of like, you know, pressure to be doing stuff, I think is ridiculous. If you haven't got the capacity like mentally to be working on stuff, that just don't. Like that's fine too. Just because everyone else is doing stuff doesn't mean you have to do stuff.
No, exactly. You got to do what you have the energy for and like what your life requires, because I think in isolation everyone is in a different situation. So whether you're isolated on your own or with family, you're looking after kids, I think everything kind of affects it. So there is no or pregnant, you know, there's a lot of things around it. Maybe you already maybe you were already dealing with mental health issues or physical health issues, and then lockdown happened. So no one is on the same boat. So we can't really, and therefore we can't really compare each other to, like, if we see other people doing great work, we shouldn't take that as a measure. We don't know what people's life standards are at that moment. And we can't, we may not be on the same boat, so it's really silly to compare.
I mean, imagine if you've not been working from home and then suddenly you're working from home during lockdown. That's an insane thing to adjust to.
Exactly.
I work from home anyway, and I still did nothing. So
exactly. And I mean, me and the team at Illustrate, like, we really adjusted really well. But then I found that suddenly doing everything, every single thing for myself to facilitate myself to be like healthy enough to do work was tiring enough. So by the time it was 5 or 6, I was just done. While as not in normal life, as I think a lot of people that knows me knows, like, by 6 o'clock I'm still buzzing. So 5, 6, 7, you know, I'll still get loads done in the evening. I'll socialize, I'll come back. While as now I'm like 5, 6 o'clock, my brain hurts. I'm just need, it's a really different it's really weird to be isolated and not having that stimulation. And so I think we need to really be kind on each other. And I love the post that says you've got to eat everything, like whatever you feel like, you've got to be eating it, because I think our bodies are trying to maintain happiness within this situation. And I guess food is one of the pleasures that we have, isn't it? So we just have to do that, even though it's not the best, the healthiest food. We've got to
so much cake, like stress bake a cake and then eat it. It's like
exactly. Just nobody feel bad about what you're not doing, Matt. So thanks for saying that you've done nothing for a week, because your account looks like you're constantly producing.
That's the thing. I think, like, you can't judge it by what I post to Instagram. You'll notice the secret is, if it goes quiet on Instagram, that's because I have client work.
Yeah.
Because the stuff I share is not normally client work, because it's often you can't share it. So when I look busy on Instagram, that's because I'm not actually busy. It's the total reverse. So,
right.
Instagram's a big lie, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? Like, everyone's pretending.
True, so true. Everyone is agreeing with you. It's nice to hear that from you. But it's a great reason, actually, for people to understand how wrong it is to judge people by what they put on Instagram. So we got to all understand that Instagram is our photo album. People organize their photo albums when they have time, and also they only put great things there. They want to put things that they want to remember looking back and that they're proud of. So that is why we all have lovely Instagram feeds. It's not because our lives are perfect or our lives are great. So nice. I'm gonna become a cool hipster now. So do you have any current work that you want to share with, apart from the prints? Is there anything we should keep an eye out on? Anything you want to talk about that's coming up?
I think I'd say just those prints are pretty new. The Instagram tends to be the place where I'll post stuff first, and tends to be the stuff that's like might not even make it onto my website portfolio because it's not like as client based. So just follow me on Instagram. Yeah.
So actually, I'm wearing yellow and this. I'm quite on brand, right? So should we talk about this? There was I think it's another, just like Liz's gratitude stuff. I really loved what you've done and how you've interacted with people through that little idea at Easter. So it's the chick one, isn't it? So should we have a look at that? And do you want to tell us how you came up with that? Because I think that is talking about purpose and creativity, and you know, making use of what we have, which is all the digital tools, and your creativity. I just love that idea. So should we have a quick look at that while you talk about how you came up with it?
I think being bored is quite a useful thing. So you get bored and then your brain thinks up silly things. So over Easter, decided like to, cause I've made some like animated GIFs of eyes, mostly so I could put them on things.
Yeah.
And then it was like, oh, it's Easter, so what things look like birds? And this is
And
just
do you have lots of yellows
bored.
in your house?
We have a lot of yellow. It's quite strange. Suddenly found loads of bits of yellow. I found more that I didn't even post. But like I find that like doing this was basically to entertain myself, give me something to do. I mean, can't go outside, so what are we gonna do? And then this kind of stuff tends to resonate quite well. So like then it's like, well, get people to get involved and join in. And it's I think in times where you can't connect with people, using social media for actual this kind of stuff is quite nice. You get reactions. People.
So these are what people have come up with, isn't it? So they've started.
Yeah, I mean it spreads and people start to join in, and it's like, I think so. Creativity can be a sort of add some joy to the world, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Nice West Pizza one.
West Pizza,
So I think like doing silly, fun things. I don't like there has no purpose necessarily, but that's nice.
I love this. Sorry, you carry on. I'm just smiling.
No. But like I think like that kind of things where people can get involved, or things where people can share. I mean, this is a simple thing that anyone can do. It's not like wholly original in any way, but it's just fun. And I think now we need fun. Do you know what I mean? Like
definitely
have a bit of escapism. So I think like these kind of silly ideas are sort of worth pursuing and just sharing sometimes.
Yeah, I love this, Richard.
And then just put them on stories, so like they disappear after a while. Like it's not part of my portfolio necessarily, but stories is a great space to do that kind of sort of throwaway content a little bit.
I love the angle ones. It's so like such awkward ones. It's so good. They must be also fun to create.
It's fun to watch it spread as well. Do you know what I mean? To kind of go like when people sort of riff off what you're doing and it clearly sort of resonates with them. That's like fun. Starts off with something for you and then sort of goes beyond that.
I love this.
That one was like they filled it with water.
Oh my god!
Yeah, like people started going off on one.
So guys, if you're interested, these are currently Easter fun. Matt kind of put that on. If you want to have another giggle, you can do that. But Matt also does loads of gifts. Like Liz, I wasn't able to show Liz's, but please, you can basically just like Liz's, you can do Matt Joyce with no space.
Yeah.
And use the gifts. I think I'm going to move to the quarantine ones.
Also, they're not in there, unfortunately. I haven't put them in there yet.
Which ones?
Quarantine not in their GIF highlights.
Oh yeah, they're not in the highlights, but they are in the they are in the library. So on Instagram, we can do that.
Yeah, I mean that's just again, it's like sort of a way to practice animation and also kind of respond to whatever's happening at the moment. So it can be quite reactive. And yeah, I like a bad pun, so.
Okay, awesome.